The former chair of the House Intel Committee, Congressman Pete Hoekstra. Congressman, very good to have you back with us. What do you think of this? It's being interpreted as an early win. We don't know how the final decision will pan out in the fall, but what do you make of it?
Well, it's good to be with you, Neil. I think there's four areas where this is very, very positive. I mean, this clearly from the Supreme Court sends a message to the lower courts: get out of politics. At the next level, I'm always concerned about the level of power that the presidency has, but I think a president, the office, should have the authority to implement these kinds of actions to keep America safe. Third, I think the policy was right. And at the fourth level, yeah, this was a win for Donald Trump. So I think on a number of different levels, this was a good day for the country and for the president.
You know, Pete, I was looking at the decision, though, and I'm no lawyer, but I wondered, they already thread the needle very judiciously, if you don't mind the play on words there, and they could have let this decision stand as the final decision. You know, we like what the president is doing, understand what he's trying to do. We don't want this to adversely impact those who already had connections or ties, either family or business here, and leave it at that and wrap it up and call it a day. Instead, we have to wait till October.
Well, I mean, I don't think they've had the arguments and all of that, so yeah, we're going to have to wait till October. But I think the die's been pretty much cast directionally as to where this court is leaning. It would have been one thing if this was a 5-4 vote, but again, a unanimous decision by the court, I think, sends a strong message on all of these levels.
Yeah, you're right. They could have just said, we'll take this up in October, but they were quick to hasten here that we are now putting back a lot of the stipulations that the president had with this in the interim. Let me switch gears, if you don't mind, Congressman, and talk a little bit about the fact that Republicans, we're told, are hours away from a Senate rework, a do-over, not completely a mulligan, but close to it, on this health care thing to secure more votes before the July 4th recess, I assume. What do you make of that? They seem to have a real battle royale on their hands.
They do. I mean, this is a very, very difficult fight. It's not at all a surprise. I think Mitch McConnell roughly knew that, he was going to have some defections. He now has kind of a, he gauged the playing field and said, okay, I've got to go back. I've got to do a mulligan, or I've got to make some changes to get to 50 votes. That's not surprising. That's how the process works.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you think he'd do a vote either way? Like, Paul Ryan is famous for not even attempting a vote unless he had the votes there. Mitch McConnell, not so much. What do you make of that?
I think Republicans in the Senate, the country, would be best off if, Leader McConnell puts the bill on the floor when he thinks he's ready. It's as close as he believes he can get to 50 Republican votes. Put it on the floor of the Senate and have the vote. That sets the clarity. If he gets the 50 votes, they go to the House and they have a conference. If they don't get the votes, it says, okay, we've got problems in health care. We're going to have to figure out a different way to get to resolving that issue, meaning they're going to have to work with the Democrats.
Congressman, when I first heard these remarks by Nancy Pelosi on this Senate measure, I couldn't believe it. Then I checked, and indeed she did say this. We do know that many more people, hundreds of thousands of people, will die if this bill passes. What do you think of that?
I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. I mean, this is about how we're going to structure health care. The debate is about whether it's going to be done by government or whether we're going to allow doctors in the private sector have more influence over health care, and whether you and I will be making those decisions or whether a government bureaucrat. Just ask Nancy Pelosi, do you really want health care for all Americans to look like what our veterans are getting through the VA, or do you believe that there's a better mechanism to make this happen? I think both Republicans and Democrats should stop talking about 30 or 40,000 feet and start talking about really how this impacts you and me and American citizens on a daily basis and how we get health care. But, there's no evidence that hundreds of thousands of people are going to die because of this. Many of us believe that if we move through innovation and private sector reform, we will see better quality health care. We'll see more innovation. We'll see the costs go down like we see in a whole lot of different areas. You let the free market, you let the American entrepreneurial spirit thrive, and we all benefit, and we all benefit at lower cost.
Yeah, maybe Republicans should counter this and saying hundreds of thousands will live as a result, if you're going to continue the ridiculous argument. Chairman, thank you very much. Good seeing you again.
Always good to be with you. Thank you, Neil.